Welcome to Jobs of the Future, a granted podcast series where we map out the rapidly shifting boundaries of education and job specialization. Our mission this season is to show digital generation that AI isn't an elite gatekeeper reserved just for coders or high-tech hubs. It's an incredible force multiplier for professionals across humanities, commerce, and science alike. To explore how university campus is acting as the primary launching pad for these future defining skills, we are joined today by a true academic pioneer. He specializes in digital literacy, AI competencies, and evolution of distance education. Representing the Portuguese Open University and Lead Research Center, Laboratory of Distance Education and eLearning, please welcome Dr. Luis Pereira. Dr. Luis, is an absolute honor to have you with us on the platform. How are you?
I'm well, Bhuvan. How are you? Hope you are well. Hope everyone is doing well, and it's a great pleasure to be here. So thanks for inviting me to talk to you today.
Hurrah! So let us prompt our journey, distilling 6 millennia of institutional learning into 60-second bits at Jobs of the Future Masterclass with Luis. So, Luis, tell us, higher education is undergoing significant change. From your perspective, what does teaching innovation really mean today?
Well, that's a great question. Thanks for prompting this discussion. This is one of the most important points, and it's the whole higher education system facing it. At the same time, I do not think there are easy answers or quick solutions to this question. Across the world, universities, because that's our focus today, are experimenting with different approaches, evaluating the results, and learning from one another. Some institutions are further ahead than others, but all of us are navigating a period of significant changes. What is clear is that AI cannot be ignored. Students are already using these tools, often in ways that challenge traditional assumptions about teaching, learning, and assessment. So institutions need to provide clarity about what is acceptable, what is not, and how AI can be used responsibly and ethically. This has been challenging especially for leadership teams, but certainly for lecturers and students as well.
Louis, like you mentioned, universities are increasingly integrating AI, and the innovation is on how do we assimilate this. Tell us and our audience, how can institution use these technologies to improve learning outcomes?
One of the things you can do is that you can't avoid and ignore the fact that AI is there. So there's this layer of being a bit meta reflective about how AI influences the way you teach and learn. So when you think about the learning outcomes you set up for your modules, for your program, you can't ignore that AI is there and will be part of their journey as a student, but also, and as you mentioned in your introduction, very important when they go to the real world, let's say like that, and they get the job. So thinking about the way you plan your teaching is also about embedding skills and competencies that will be relevant for employability. We live as a result of AI as well. We need in a challenging world where jobs might be changing very rapidly. So to be able to prepare a generation of young students to answer those challenges is obviously very important. So I'm saying one of the aspects of this is to ensure that part of your teaching, not necessarily linked to engineering or these more technical programs, that you are preparing your students to be more critical, to understand the way they learn, the way the world operates, and they develop those skills to be able to go out there and bring something new to their jobs and make themselves more employable, but equally more like a citizen that they are able to participate in society in general.
Thank you so much for elaborating this for our students, because they are going to step out into the future in which the jobs which have not even been named are going to come. And when we think about these students' future, we also want to learn from you the competencies you believe will be essential for them to succeed in a world where AI becomes part of the everyday work. Can you shed some light on it?
The easy answer is to say that they need more technical skills, to be more critical, to have more literacy regarding these new technologies. I would like to highlight a different aspect. And I've been thinking about this, and I think the ability to communicate well and to connect with each other, I think these are at the moment very basic but essential skills. So if we are teaching our students and they prefer to be on their mobiles instead of engaging with their colleagues, I think essentially we have a problem. So I think we need to come up with activities in the classroom, some strategic activities to embed more collaborative learning, more group work, more peer learning. All these aspects are really essential to promote these skills that are not technical but necessary.
Louis, it's not just our students who are facing this attention deficit when it comes to learning. Teaching itself is changing so much. You've seen the change happen across the UK education system, in Portugal, and in other countries that you've been teaching. Tell our audience how what new competencies do academic staff need to develop to remain effective educators?
That's a very important point. It's not all about our students, it's also about lecturers and everyone involved in supporting teaching. So, I just want to give you an example from a research I'm conducting with some colleagues for the Center for Online and Distance Education at the University of London. And we have been observing that colleagues tend to reflect on their teaching coming from negative experiences and then tend to be isolated. So one of the things I believe the universities and schools then at the micro level need to do is to encourage our colleagues not only to have formal training and really to develop this continuous professional development culture because we are learning new skills every day. So no one is at the perfect level. We need to continue to learn, but also to promote these informal communities of practice because when you have a question, you ask your colleague. So you can't wait for these formal workshops or whatever. So to promote and encourage colleagues to engage with each other is also essential to have this culture of innovation and face these challenges that AI brings to us.
And Louis, you've hit the nail on its head. You spoke about communities of educators coming together, and one such big community is universities themselves. Tell our audience, and also to our academic administrators, the universities, how they can support lecturers and faculty members in adapting to these new approaches.
I think leadership teams face themselves quite a few challenges because they have this pressure of coming up with clear rules about how to implement AI in teaching. But at times the rules can't be like a medicine. You have a pill that will sort all the issue out. It's more complex. It's a bit more collaborative. It's a bit more dialectic. So uh, to come up with rules that are clear and really set the expectations, it's complex and it needs to be revisited very often. So I do understand that those in charge have their own challenges in terms of being clear about how to set up these rules and the expectations. So I think again, institutions need to collaborate and try to implement their solutions, take some risks, encourage colleagues to take some risks, and learn from that and disseminate the knowledge. Because again, there's no institution isolated that can come up with a solution that can bring something that now we have the ultimate solution for AI. It's sorted. We don't need to do anything else. I think we are living in an experience that really shows we need to learn from each other and collaboratively come up with a solution that can be effective.
And it is such an important part, Luis. While studying humanities at school, we learned that after the Gutenberg press had been invented, for the first 200 years, people who were reading texts were not reading them out aloud. They were humming it, and that's how hymns came to be. And it's only recently recitation and saying out things aloud from reading has become a practice, a trend. So, no matter where the technology is, people have to adapt to how to use it as a tool. And, and it's a future forward looking strategy we have to adopt. And that is where our next question is to you. Tell us, in the next 5 to 10 years, what do you think university classroom experience will look like?
Wow, that's a very challenging question. I was in a conference, RIDE conference in London a few months ago, and I had this panel with a colleague, which was called Futurology for Higher Education. And we asked colleagues to think about themselves in 5 years. And it was interesting. I'm now analyzing some of those notes. And some colleagues were saying, I prefer to retire than to adopt AI. So I feel the anxiety of some colleagues to 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 see how the situation is evolving and to feel the pressure to adopt new tools. I think pedagogy is essentially the same. It's about how do you connect, how do you communicate, how do you ensure that your students they own their own journey. Obviously, as you said, we have a few aspects that can be disruptive, but the classroom has been there for thousands of years and it will remain. I think we need to focus more on the interaction than on the content, because ultimately the content is there whenever you need it. AI will keep improving the quality of the content. So it's about more to ensure that people connect to each other. It's about the motivation to learn, so the curiosity to keep learning throughout their lives more than, you learn about this, that's it. In the past, you travel to the big universities like Paris to get access to the knowledge. And nowadays, the knowledge is closer to you. So we need to focus more on the human dimension, on the inspiration, on the curiosity, as I said, to ensure that our students are keen on learning new skills, on understanding the world.
Dr. Lewis, you have given us an incredible blueprint today. In these digitally anxious times, you have shown us the way. Your perspective reminds us that true educational transformation isn't about replacing the classroom with software, it's about upgrading human capability, interaction, communication, supporting our faculty, and confidently stepping into innovative spaces and not shirking from them and saying, I retire, like you mentioned, I retire before I learn AI, without compromising on the human element of learning and not compromising on the new technologies that are emerging. Thank you for sharing your time and your vision with our audience. To everyone tuning in, especially the students and professionals looking to build their path, remember that tools are changing, but your unique human focus remains the anchor. If you are an AI pioneer and educator or an industry professional using automated workflows to shape your sector, we want to hear your story. Drop a comment below, connect with us at Granted, and let's record your visual CV. your course of life next. Don't forget to check out our active project playlist in the description below. Until next time, keep building, keep innovating, and we will see you in the next episode of Jobs of the Future. Thank you.